I think last time I talked to you, I was complaining about how my strength had plateaued super hard in the last like 2 months, because I hadn't, in the gym, I was not able to lift any more weight than I had pretty much started lifting in, I guess, October. But it's crazy, since I've been on a different diet and I've been consuming a lot more carbohydrates. I mean, carbohydrate, that's like a superpower. I mean, I put on 10 extra pounds onto almost everything that I'm lifting, and it was like nothing. It was just, I feel superhuman. It's crazy how much of a difference that energy in your muscles makes. It really just proves anecdotally to me that carbo loading is a real thing. I mean, I think I knew it, but to feel it so intensely is crazy. So I'm eating 10,000 calories, I mean, 10,000, that'd be insane. I'm eating 3,000 calories a day. Most of 50% of that is carbohydrates, then 35% is protein, and 20% is fat. So that's the macro breakdown. And it's hard. I mean, it's hard to go from eating 1,900 to 3,000, because I'm also calculating what I'm burning off averagely-ish in my workout. So usually I'm adding another 300 to 400 calories to that a day just to compensate for the energy out. But again, it's like the same amount of prep. You know, when you're eating in a calorie deficit, you have to sort of look at your day and strategize. Okay, you know, what do I want to eat? But I'm also hungry, so I want to eat here, and then I know I'm going to eat here, and like I don't want to be too late. But now it's like the opposite strategy, where I have to make sure that too much of my day isn't going by, because it's very easy to end up at like 9 o'clock at night and still have 1,200 calories to eat. That sounds fun, but it's really not. It's quite daunting, because again, the foods that I'm eating are pretty satiating. You know, in terms of carbohydrates, I'm trying to do pretty high satiation. So whether that's whole wheat or like potatoes or pasta or something like that, you know, that fills you up. Or oatmeal. Oatmeal's absolutely dynamite. And then protein is just super filling in itself, because it takes so long to digest. So you end up with 1,200 calories, but you're just so violently not hungry. You know, you're not full, you're just so not hungry. So you're kind of stuffing yourself. Now I went pretty hard switch in a week. And now that I'm about 2 weeks, I'm 1 week into the diet, 1 week away from the deficit, and it's getting easier. I'm getting better at it. I'm getting more strategic with my food, but you know, it's an experience. I have to say that counting calories now, and really counting everything and paying attention to every single little thing that goes into my body over the past 3 months has been an incredibly educational experience. I've learned some pretty hard truths, especially when it comes to fat. You know, regardless of whatever, you know, sort of philosophy you subscribe to about what's good and bad and pro and anti-weight loss, if you just look at sort of like the traditional things, you know, and you're trying to not eat, like, so for example, fat, you know, obviously there's a lot of schools of thought that fat is actually a very good thing for your brain and all of that. But if you're just trying to avoid it, right, or minimalize it, you realize things like eggs are really high in fat. Eggs almost match themselves gram for gram to fat and carbohydrates. So if you're only doing 30 grams of fat in a day and you have 3 eggs, you're like halfway through your fat in a day. So, okay, you're like, okay, I don't want to eat eggs for breakfast, you know? So it's very interesting. And then other things are like, you know, I've always been a big ranch dressing lover. And I always like to dip my French fries in ranch. I'm definitely known to dip my pizza in ranch. You know, I just like ranch. But come to find out, you know, 3 of those little dipping cups that you get at like a restaurant, which I believe are 1 or 1.5 ounces, 3 of those is nearly 1,000 calories in fat. So you have 3 of those ranch dipping sauces with some French fries or some buffalo wings, and you've added 1,000 calories to your meal or your pizza. And that sounds like a lot from a dipping perspective, but then when you think about taking 3 of those and pouring them over, like, let's say a giant salad, I don't think that that's that unreasonable to do, right? I mean, people put the bigger the salad, the more dressing. And when you think about that, that really turns salad into a very, very high calorie food. And we're not talking high calorie like avocado. We're talking high calorie as in straight up oil, vegetable oil. And if you're going to consume 1,000 calories in vegetable oil as a side, as a condiment, that's not even something that you think about. That's how you slip up. And that's why I feel stronger now than ever that, everyone's always, I'll just speak for myself. You go through phases in life where you're just trying to lose weight, right? You're trying, but you're not really taking a educated approach, So again, this has been a very major learning experience for me. And I feel like I'm coming out with a way better understanding of where those sneaky little calories come from. And on the flip side, I'm also learning that it's so much easier than I previously thought to control your body. You see the results if you do it mathematically. You can, I calculated that 10-pound weight loss to the day almost. Like I could hit a deadline with weight loss. I don't know if that's necessarily true for everybody, and that might not be something that I can repeat, but it seems based on how I feel I reached it and what I did to get there, it seems very repeatable. It's just thermodynamics, right? And then on the flip side now, eating the carbohydrates, I'm lifting 5 to 10 pounds more per day, or well, let's say per week. So even though I'm only on week 1 of this new lifting program, I'm pretty confident that next week I'll be able to lift 5 pounds more than I was this week. So it doesn't make it seem all that hard in the end. I know that I know this is kind of cringy and boring for most people. I struggle to find people to talk about this with, so I'll talk to you about it, I guess. But I'm excited. It's something that obviously consumes a lot of my mental, because obviously we as Americans eat and think about food all day. So I'm eating and thinking about food all day, but in a more, I guess a less fun way, if you will. But I'm enjoying it. I'm having a blast doing it, and it feels very sustainable, to be honest. I don't know if that's just because I genuinely have such an interest in the kind of the science and the process and the struggle of it, but it actually feels like something that it's sort of like the red pill. Once you start counting your calories, it's like, God, I can't imagine just going in blind. I did 1 week where I ate blindly and didn't count anything. And I honestly can't say I enjoy it. And I don't think it takes any of my joy away from eating food. I'm still slamming. Just the other day when we went to New York that morning, I slammed 2 big donuts and I enjoyed it. It's like I can eat whatever I want. I just have to account for it. And I also know that if I go over my days, like that whole month the whole 2 months that I was on that deficit, there were tons of days where I ate way over my daily caloric intake. And on those days I enjoyed the food. I didn't stress about it because I knew how to mathematically account for it during the week. And when I was during the week, I felt good. And I had days where I just, went below the deficit. Anyways, it's fun. I'm having fun with it. The weather was kind of crappy today. It's getting dark super early. So by the time I'm done with work and, I'm trying to hang out with Caden and stuff, it's like the sun's already setting. So it's making me want to do like more night shoots. But then when it's cold and Sam's working, it's, I just kind of stay in the house. So I just kind of talk, I guess, at the, I hate to be back doing these desk videos, but that being said, they're sort of a necessary part of the process. Otherwise, I'd rather do this than, filming myself doing dishes up against music. I'd rather at least talk about something and feel like the content is at least a little bit more engaging for me to create. And yeah, but we have the holidays coming up. I have not Christmas shopped for like anybody. I have a few ideas, but my family is a little bit hard because we are more of a personal service type vibe and less of a gift giving thing. So while that's easier on the wallet, it's certainly much more of a pain in the butt on your brain because you have to like plan and think about things. And I know that's the point of the gift, right? It's the thought that counts. But, sometimes it's nice to outsource the thought, outsource it to a company that makes a product. I'll talk a little bit about, I want to talk a little bit about New York really quick without making this video too long. New York was awesome. I was so tired when we were leaving, so I didn't think of like any of the things that I kind of would have liked to have said. The biggest thing is just how freaking busy New York City was. I mean, I can't stress enough. We went this time last year, and the only difference is I think it was a Friday, and it was raining. But we got into like, it was busy. You could tell there's a lot of like, but we went into Macy's and we went to Rockefeller Center and took a picture of the front of the tree and hung out next to the ice skating rink and all that. And it wasn't like pouring rain. But this year when we went, it was like nothing I've ever seen. I mean, we're talking about crowds, like it was Macy's Day Thanksgiving Parade or something. I mean, I've never seen a crowd this big in person for something that wasn't like, it was literally like it was like trying to walk through a concert. You know what I mean? Like when there's a massive crowd of people at like a standing room only kind of crowd, it was like trying to move through that for 2 straight blocks to get to Rockefeller. I was absolutely dumbfounded by it. Then we saw Hadestown, which was really great. I think it's my favorite musical that I've seen, just because the music was so great. I think there were a lot of really cool themes. I thought it was much more symbolic. My interpretation of what the artist was trying to say with the music and with the play was very deep and interesting. But then when I looked it up, it was completely different than what I had anticipated, and it was like a little bit more surface level. So I don't know if that says, I don't know what that says to the music and to the art. But I'm gonna go with my interpretation of it, because there were a lot of things throughout the play that resonated with me, and the music was incredible. I highly recommend checking out anything by Anais Mitchell. I think she's a very unique songwriter. She does like folk music, and I think it was a great play. The next on the docket is we would really like to see Book of Mormon, and then Sam really wants to see the Harry Potter Cursed Child musical. And we would like to see some plays locally too, because obviously going to New York and seeing Broadway, you're seeing the best of the best, but there's always something to be said about seeing something not quite as professional and multi-million-dollar, and we just love stage performances and musicals. So I think seeing this one, Hadestown, because it originally was just touring locally in Vermont before it got picked up by a producer to go to Broadway, and that just sort of inspired me to be like, there's lots of hidden gems out there. There's lots of talent who isn't in New York. It's just like there's lots of talented people who aren't in wherever their industry is so focused. So that's the end of this video. I threw in some footage of me cleaning up Caden's and our mess. And, I figured that was sort of like, kinetic sand being put over TikToks or something. Hopefully this will be the one desk video of the week. I'm still waiting on the Milford Town Library to open up. They are, as far as I know, still closed due to HVAC purposes for, whatever. So I support them. God bless. They're getting some, I'm sure, some much needed renovation. The libraries need our support, but I would like to go in and support their services with my patronage.